We know from the last time we met that the Grove is home to many animals, and always has been.
From the very first play, Blithe Spirit, when Betty Lee as Madame Arcadi called to the heavens, "Is anybody out there?" and was answered by a soulful "bah" from the field behind the stage, all kinds of creatures have been a part of the Oak Grove experience.
Last time we talked about the cute and cuddlies. This time we talk about the things that go bump or squeak in the night.
Let's start tonight off with a fellow that couldn't help but steal the show. In 1992's Bullshot Crummond, Sam Koogler's Oak Grove directorial debut, the play stars Jim Orkus as an evil Nazi, but in this version, he happens to get upstaged by a mouse.
The story of the mouse in the house. An actor named Jim Orkus is playing this, and he's a spy in England. Jim is going on about how great a spy he is, and chuckling and chortling to himself, and the audience starts to laugh hilariously. But they're not laughing at Jim. Apparently there had been a small field mouse that had gotten into the radio when it was in storage, and had gotten out and was trying to get off the table. And the mouse was running around and around and around and around the radio. And suddenly the mouse jumped off the radio and was so afraid of the audience that it raced off stage.
According to Jim, 2 nights later, same scene, only this time the mouse did a couple of laps on top of the radio and then ran down the leg to the front of the stage, where the audience and Jim exploded in applause. The mouse took a bow and then exited stage right. We'd be remiss not to talk about the biggest scene-stealing creatures that the Grove has. And there are 2 of them. First, we have the tree frogs, sweet little creatures that make one heck of a holler, especially during the 4th show. If you get quiet, you can hear them right now. And every 7 years, these little jerks join in the fray. That's right, cicadas. Silver lining for having to cancel the season this year. They're here now and have been since what would have been the first show. Yikes! Some of our almost scene stealers aren't nearly as loud. During 2013's Crimes of the Heart, every night before Jenny Howard's first entrance, there would be a giant toad waiting in her spot as if waiting for his entrance. The first night this happened, she saw him last minute and had to scoop him up, whisper to the nearest crew member, "Are you okay with toads?" And when she nodded, Jenny plopped him in her hands and made her entrance. Crimes of the Heart had another visitor during the run of the show. This guy, named Mr. Thin Lips by actress Allison Sprouse. She tells us of one night when she was alone in the ladies' room changing her costume. She saw something, but the light wasn't very great, so she tried getting closer.
And I looked up here and I got a little bit closer and a little bit closer. Truth be told, I don't know how close I got to him because I didn't want to get that close, but I was close enough to know that it was a snake looking me in the eye. I can also say that I did break the world's record for a fastest costume change, and I got out. I didn't stick around to ask because I had seen enough of Mr. Thin Lips.
Black snakes are definitely not unique at the Grove. Many a show has been visited by these sleek friends, often because of the bird's nests in the rafters of the pavilion. Ryan Odenbrett, who played Torvald in 2018's A Doll's House, had spied this slender fellow, about 6 feet long, slithering through the woods towards the pavilion. Now, Ryan is an outdoors enthusiast and conservationist, so used a long branch to move the fellow about 50 yards down the fence line. Problem solved, right? No such luck. The fellow came back during the show, so our hero, dressed to the nines in his costume, used his prop cane to help pick up our friend and move him far into the field this time. You think we'd be done with snake stories, right? Wrong. Sherry Talbott tells the story of when she and Brent Hall had gone for a peaceful walk on the path between scenes during 1998's A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum.
Brent Hall and I decided to take a moonlight stroll between our scenes. I was dressed as Domina and he as Miles Gloriosus. So here we were dressed in our Roman finery, just enjoying a nice walk down this lovely moonlit path, when all of a sudden I felt a jab in my foot and I looked down to see a black snake had bitten me. The thing looked up at me and then it slithered off into the distance, never to be seen again.
Ouch, Sherry! All right, we're done with snakes, even though there are many more stories of our Danger Noodle friends. Remember those tree frogs we listened to earlier? Well, one of Terry Southerington's first production gigs was to throw tiny pebbles between a frog and the stage any time it looked like it was interested in joining the action. The 1972 production of Bliss Towers, set in a penthouse apartment, just didn't have room for tree frogs. Tarkin Davis tells of watching his fellow castmates, Hannah Woodrum, Madge, and Jake Frank, Hal, in 2011's Picnic during the scene where they're going to run off together. They kiss, and as soon as they pull back, a bat swoops down from the light booth and right between their faces. And tonight, we end on the most adorable creature we have ever seen at the Grove. He showed up during the filming of this year's virtual season. Nature always finds a way.